Good afternoon, my name's Brad Ross and I'm the Director of Global Football Marketing for the Coca-Cola Company based in Atlanta, USA. So football, known around the world, or soccer as it's known in the US, is a passion point for many consumers out there. For us as Coca-Cola, we understand the importance of leveraging people's passions and bringing those passions to life through some of our marketing campaigns. So for us, it's about really trying to understand what drives and motivates people. And we know that football, aka soccer, is a big driver of those motivations and passions for people. And that's why it's important for us to have a strategy that revolves around that passion for our consumers. Coca-Cola has been involved in the world of football for a long time. We were involved in football from the 1950s. We became a FIFA sponsor in 1974 and have continued our football associations around the world at a global level as well as at a local level, where our markets around the world pick up football, sponsoring local leagues, local clubs, or local activations. And so for us, football is truly one of the biggest passion points that as a company and as a brand, we actually look to use in our marketing activities. And that stems across multiple brands, but primarily across brand Coca-Cola as well as Powerade. Well, football is an interesting dynamic because if you think about the last FIFA World Cup, 3.2 billion people tuned in to watch the FIFA World Cup. So we know that football has the ability to span across multiple countries, multiple occasions, and multiple opportunities, not only for the hardcore fans. But the way we segment our football is that way. You know, Coke is a brand for everyone, and so we want to make sure that what we do can appeal to everyone. So first and foremost, we look at football at the highest level, at a FIFA World Cup level, and we talk about how we actually work with all 3.2 billion people that tune in and have a passion for football. And then as we segment football across the levels of fandom or the levels of hardcore fans, we start to then put different plays in place for those fans at a different level of their fandom, as it were. I think an important component of what we do is, at the end of the day, we're here to sell Coca-Cola or Powerade and not the sport of football. So having a background in brand and having actually first worked on the brand team allowed me to understand the brand values, and what we were trying to achieve in terms of our brand plans and how then to utilize the context of a passion point like football. So having the brand background allowed me to look at it more holistically, understand the brand needs and the business needs, and then decide how we leverage the passion point of football versus the other way around. So I think having that brand background was incredibly helpful and incredibly useful for me in my career as I've started to look at how to actually engage with our consumers around the world through the passion point. So I've been at Coca-Cola for 10 years now, and it's been the most unbelievable ride that I can even explain. You know, Coke operates in 207 countries around the world, and sitting in the global team, you get to operate and work with markets and cultures from all over the world, bringing a great brand to the people and really doing what I love. If I think about marketing, which is my first love, and I am able to combine that with my love for football, it's kind of like the sweet spot for me. So I found my dream job. I'm working at a great company, and a company that really cares. It cares about its people, it cares about the community that it operates with, and it puts together really cool marketing programs that enable me to push my boundaries, to bring my creativity to a new level, and to work with great people, both inside Coke, with our bottlers, and with our agencies all over the world. So ultimately it's people, the experience that I get to work with on the brands that we work with, and the cool projects that we get to work with every day. So working with a startup or a relatively unknown brand or company is an interesting one, because I think the first thing you need to do is really understand what product or service you're offering and who you're offering it to. I think that's fundamental before you get into the marketing plan, is to really understand who your target is and what your brand stands for and what you're trying to do with it. I think once you've got that level of understanding, and that's iterative and it will continue to evolve as you go, you'll be able to then understand where you need to be placing your marketing and your marketing communication to reach the right target through the right message at the right time and at the right place. And so I think you've got to look at it from that point where you first really truly understand your brand, your product or your service, who you're actually servicing with it, and then start to work on what comes from there. I think insights are important as well, so understanding the insights of the tribe that you're going to be working with or using your product to connect with is very, very important, and that would be part of the journey. So a new brand, startup company, or a new product trying to establish themselves, my feeling is don't rush it at the beginning. I think a lot of people are keen to get their route to market ready and start putting their marketing plan out there. But very often you could trip yourself up in the long run trying to go too fast at the beginning and having to reinvent yourself along the way. Get it right, understand your customer, understand your product, understand your brand, and then start putting the plan in place versus the other way around. I think you always got to go back to the premise of what marketing is, and marketing is about creating demand. So what you have to do is try and understand where that demand is going to be created. I don't think digital is the next big thing in marketing. Digital has been around for a long time already. And so it's just about finding different ways to use digital to connect with your markets. But I think at the end of the day, it's about engaging at a one-on-one level with your consumers. I think marketing nowadays is about personalization. It's about understanding what the needs of that specific person is and trying to articulate your offering as best as you can to that person. So I think digital has opened up a whole new world to do that. When you think about things like programmatic marketing, I think it gives you that ability to target individuals and talk to them at that one-to-one basis. So that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I'd say is also stepping away a little bit from who owns your brand. I think a lot of companies and brands, rightfully so, protect their brand and their brand IP. But in today's world, it's the consumer that owns the brand, and it's the consumer that will decide where your brand goes. So while you can be good stewards for the brand, at the end of the day, it's up to you as a brand to give some leeway to your consumers to also have a point of view and to do the marketing on your behalf. So I think, consumer owning the brand is also a big area which is slightly uncomfortable for a lot of brands, but one that I think we need to be looking at in terms of how we take marketing forward by actually asking ourselves the question, who owns your brand anyway? I don't know if there can ever be one holy grail in marketing because, as I said, marketing is an evolving, ever-changing, dynamic environment to be in, and what may be a holy grail today may be very different in 5 years' time from now. So I think the key thing for me as a marketer and what I'd like to achieve is to continue to stay ahead of what some of the marketing trends are and being able to utilize the marketing platforms, the technologies, and our approach with consumers to be able to really create that elusive demand and connect on that one-on-one level with our consumers. So versus a holy grail, I think it's staying ahead of the pack, making sure that I learn as much as I can on the journey and ultimately connect with much smarter individuals than me to bring out the best in what our marketing needs to be and what it needs to look like in the future. I think my key takeaway in the world of marketing is it's not an individual sport. Marketing is a team sport, and in today's world with so many different opportunities, avenues to follow, the rate of technology and innovation going on, you need to be able to tap into the best of breed around the world to really enhance and bring your marketing to life. So one thing I would say for sure is do not think of marketing as an individual sport. It's a team sport. It requires like-minded individuals to follow a vision, to follow a strategy that you could not do on your own. In my experience in marketing, 1 + 1 absolutely equals 3. And if you put that together and bring the right team together to deliver your marketing and to deliver your marketing programs, that's already a step in the right direction. So it's a team sport, work together, build that team, and you'll go far.